In this video, I'm breaking down absolutely everything wrong with Fortnite as it is today. Now, before we get into it, I do want to make one thing clear. Fortnite changed gaming forever. It influenced pop culture and completely redefined the Battle Royale gaming scene. Everyone streamed it. Ninja, Tfue, Clicks, and they built their entire careers around this one singular game. With that being said, Epic Games deserves immense credit, but no game is perfect. It is extremely easy to see that Fortnite as it is today is nowhere near as good as it was back in 2018 and 2020. Whenever Fortnite first released, what attracted people to the game was the building. That's all I ever heard. I heard this game is amazing. You can build in this game. It's the best battle royale. It's simple, it's easy, and it's kid-friendly. Once that became a gimmick of the past, Fortnite had to move on to something new to keep the game interesting. And of course, they turned to new weapons, new mobility, new vehicles, and not to mention commercial advertisements and partnerships with big brands like Star Wars. And a lot of that, of course, was an attempt at Epic Games trying to keep their game interesting for new audiences. But in doing so, they lost their original audience. Now, some people could argue that's because we became older, or we moved on to bigger and better things, which is partially true. But I feel like Epic Games just simply didn't care about any of that. They were more concerned about bringing in new players than actually keeping their old ones. I think a lot of this stems from the fact that older players outgrew the characters that are presented in the game and the partnerships that Fortnite creates with different companies. And older players would be less likely to spend money on the season pass and all of the skins and weapon skins and all of these things in the game because it's actually their money now, not their parents. So Epic Games has shifted their ideas to a younger audience. Obviously, they did this so they could keep their sales up because younger kids aren't spending their money, they're spending their parents' money. And it's a lot easier to sell things to children than it is to sell things to full-grown adults. Now, I mentioned that building was actually the main thing that drew players into Fortnite at its peak, of course, along with the different streamers and YouTubers that presented the game online, which built its popularity. But another issue that has recently occurred, I say recently, it was a little while back now, is Fortnite has a no build mode. And they implemented this because there's a lot of sweats in the game, and casual players can feel like they're falling behind, which is true. I mean, I quit playing because there was too many sweats and I feel like I was falling behind, but I still like the building mechanics. So now they have split the competitive scene completely, especially esports. Now, mainly they still focus on building in esports, but there is a section of esports that focuses on no build. Now, because of this, professional players have to focus on build and no build Fortnite, which you of course play completely differently. And not only has it divided the esports scene, it's also divided the community as a whole. Back when Fortnite was at its peak, no one took it seriously. I mean, some people did, right? But those are the streamers, those were the YouTubers. Now everyone is trying to be the next Ninja, the next Tfue, and they're all trying so hard it makes it miserable for casual players. You can shoot at an opponent and they will build a pace, and I kid you not, probably 2 seconds. But that is another reason for Fortnite's decline, because it has shifted to more of a competitive scene rather than a casual scene. And in results of them trying to fix that with implementing a no build mode, they not only split the community, but also lowered their player base. At Fortnite's peak, it had one main core map. You know, it had Tilted Towers, Pleasant Park, all the main memorable locations. Now the maps feel a little bit too convoluted with all these locations and different rotations and mobility and vehicles and all of this stuff that is unneeded in my opinion. And of course, I'm going to mention this a lot throughout this video, but I feel like Fortnite is trying to do too much. They implemented rifts, they implemented zip lines, all of these things that help improve mobility, but make it too complicated for casual players. And of course, that brings me on to the issue with all the new weapons and how big of an issue it is for the balancing of this game. A lot of players feel it's less of a skill gap and more of a luck gap. That sounds weird of how I'm explaining it, but what I'm trying to say is it depends more on who gets a mythic weapon first than who's actually good at the game. And that's a huge issue, and that's extremely frustrating, and that is what causes a lot of players to not want to continue playing. Because if you're extremely good at the game, but you're just getting killed by an overpowered weapon, that's no fun for anybody. And that could be Fortnite's way of trying to even the playing field for less competitive players and more casual players, but that's not the right way of doing it. I really don't think it is. Now, I talked about this a little bit, but Fortnite has always had collabs. It had the Marshmallow event, the Travis Scott event. There's a lot of events that happened back in Fortnite's peak, but those events felt special. Something about them. I mean, you would possibly even skip school to attend a Fortnite event online. A Fortnite Travis Scott concert. Now, no one talks about it. No one cares about it. It's not interesting. There's no buzz on social media. I remember Cubic the Cube, you know, the giant purple cube that would roll around. People would watch just complete live streams of a purple cube rolling around. And it's hard to pinpoint where all the hype went and why it disappeared. But I think mainly it's just burnout. And that's just human nature. You get bored of stuff after a while. Now, that could be because they've done it so many times, or it could be that they're also repeating the same things. Now, I feel like they've had like 3 Star Wars collabs at this point, and it just gets dull and stale and feels more like a money grab than it adding anything of value to the actual game. And them implementing the new chapter system is, I don't fully understand it, because I stopped playing probably back in Season 7. Season 7 or 8 is whenever I stopped playing, before chapters were even implemented. So I haven't played in a while, but to make this video, of course, I went back and played a little bit more to get a feel of what the current game is like. But I'm not a big fan of the chapters. Again, I feel like it just dilutes the game. It adds, they're trying to do too much. They're trying to be something that they're not. People didn't go to their game for the story. They went to the game because it was fun. Now, of course, I guess that's not true for everybody. Some people do play Fortnite strictly for the competitive scene, which the competitive scene is also on a decline. I don't know exactly when this event happened. I think it was around 2019, but I still remember when I don't remember the guy's name, but a kid won $3 million at a Fortnite competition. I think I was in the 5th grade when this happened. And I remember hearing about this and just being so dumbfounded, sitting in my 5th grade classroom, that someone won $3 million, a life-changing amount of money, playing a video game. Nowadays, that's just commonplace everywhere. And I think that's another issue. Saturation within the genre. And that's not necessarily Epic Games' fault. People saw the success of Fortnite and tried to copy it. And because they tried to copy it, the whole genre became diluted. Warzone, Apex Legends, those weird high-tech teleportation battle royales, they all attributed to the downfall of Fortnite. Not because they're taking away player bases into those games, which might be a little bit true, but it's mainly because it just became too much. People got bored of it. Professional players now in Fortnite have to relearn the meta every single time a new season comes out, because every season adds different mythic weapons, different normal weapons, and it changes the entire balance of the game, which is true for a lot of games. But for Fortnite, where they can just add a freaking lightsaber that changes the entire meta, it's a bit of a drastic change. Now, I'm no expert at the professional Fortnite scene whatsoever. That's not my thing, so they might not allow those weapons. But if they do, that's the main issue that I'm pointing out. Now, if I had to pinpoint why Fortnite is slowly declining, it would mainly be just because of Battle Royale fatigue. Battlefield 6, for example, just recently released their Battle Royale mode, and I don't like it. It almost feels like a one-for-one copy of Warzone. The fatigue of Battle Royales is at an all-time high. I feel like companies need to just drop it, to be honest. They need to move on. And for one thing I've been thinking about, I feel like story games are going to shoot up big time. And they have been for Ghost of Yotei and all of these amazing games. The new Resident Evil that's going to be coming out. I feel like those are going to be the games that are popular for the rest of the upcoming year. Not to mention Subnautica 2. I'm hyped for Subnautica 2. But everything I've said in this video, Fortnite is still a fun game. It's just not what it once was. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one.